I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 431. Welcome to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. Happy summer. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're taking a break. I hope you're getting enough rest. And I hope you're thinking about what you're thinking about. I hope you're watching your thinking. And I've been doing some thinking lately, and I have come up with this idea that what I would like to impart to you of all the tools that I teach, what I would like to impart to you the most, and what most people seem to be the most interested in, is this simple concept of eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. And I know I've done 431 podcasts, and I know I have spoken about this a lot. And yet what comes up most on social media, and by the way, if you're not following me on Facebook or Instagram, I have so many good tips that I put on there, not to mention my podcast and my interviews and ideas for you that may or may not end up on this podcast. And it's under my same name, Dr. Deb Butler, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram and look for more tips of all the things that I talk about. But what I think I get the most amount of questions about after all of these years of doing this podcast, and for those of you who have been struggling with weight your whole life and menopause is making it harder than ever, the one thing that you seem to be the most interested in is, how do I eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm full? It's the most interesting tool that I teach, and it's what we're wired to do. It's the most natural thing for the body, which always gets my interest because I was no different than you. I never thought about eating when I'm hungry and stopping when I'm full. I really only thought about how many points, how many calories will it take for me to lose this weight? And the more I was in menopause, the less of everything I thought I could eat, and none of the things that I used to use didn't seem to work anymore. And yet, when it was posed to me by another life coach, why do you eat when you're not hungry? And do you know when you're hungry? And do you know when you're full? Changed everything for me. And so what I want to do this summer, one of the things I want to do this summer is do a master class. I'm calling it Take a Lunch Break with Me, where I talk about this concept of eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full, and how to figure it out, and what to do when you figured it out and you still want to eat, even though you know that it's time to stop. And that is the $1 million question, really, is, well, listen, what do I do once I know that I'm full? Then how do I get myself to stop? And that's what I want to talk about today. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this master class. I'm going to spend an hour on July 18th at 1 o'clock Central talking about and helping you, number one, figure out when you're hungry and when you're full, and learn how to put numbers on it. I call it my physical hunger scale. Best tool ever. Just to know your own numbers, just to know this is when I need to eat. This is my -2. And this is my +2. This is my time to stop. I talk about a physical hunger scale. For those of you who've been listening for a while, I know you've heard this, but it never hurts to hear it again because every time I say it, I say something a little different and give you a little information that your brain may have not picked up before. So it's like when you're figuring out these numbers, I give you a scale of starting at a -10, which is starving, and stopping at a +10, which is stuffed. And in between that scale, what I'm saying to you is to start at a -2. Now, if a -10 is starving, then a -2 is just very lightly hungry. It's a whisper. It's a knock, knock. Are you up? Do you hear me? It's the beginning of hunger and the best time to eat because you can think clearly. You're totally connected. Your brain's not going crazy, but your body is signaling to you a very strong mind-body connection. Feed me. And on the other end of the spectrum of a +10 being stuffed, I ask you to stop at a +2. And a +2, the difference between a +2 and a +10, it's a lot. There's a lot of points in between. And that is why it's so important to understand being full and what being full means to you. Because for some people, being full might be a +5. For some people, it might be a +8. And a +2 is that whisper again. It's lightness. All of them are very light. And when you eat between the twos and you feel pretty light, it's very easy when you're done eating to want to go for a walk. You don't feel loaded down because you don't have that much food in your stomach, but you have enough for your body to do what it needs to do. Now, if you've been doing this your whole life, and I noticed on my social media posts, because I asked the question, do you know when to eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full? Such a variance of different answers. Some people saying yes, some people saying no, some people saying I'm always hungry. And I know you're a part of all of that. And I think it's so important that if you could really own that, you could own this weight loss journey in menopause. And I know some people will say to me, well, I'm doing everything. I do everything and I'm still not losing weight. Now, I will tell you when I hear that, that is a thought that you have if you're saying it. And when you think you're doing everything, the problem with that is it makes you feel frustrated. And frustration never leads to eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. The feeling of frustration will lead you into using food to feel less frustrated. And if that's what you've been doing your whole life, why would you want to keep doing it? So we have to be very careful about how we think to ourselves when we're going through this period of menopause and when we're going through this period of understanding our body better. Because what I'm asking you to do in the inner peace, is I'm asking you to get connected to your body. And for many of you, that will mean weight loss, but it's without counting points. It's without counting calories. It's even without counting portions because your body is the portion communicator. Your body will tell you when you've had the right amount of food. Now, I'll tell you in my early days of dieting and understanding portions and reading portions and somebody telling me how much of a portion I could have, it did educate me when I had no idea of how much to eat. Because if left to me, I wanted to eat as much as I could. I had no connection to my body of feeling full or feeling hungry, half as much as the desire to fill emotional holes and use food for anything but fuel. So that's why I want to do this masterclass this lunch break. I'm calling it having a lunch break with me because it's going to be during the time of lunch for many of you around the country, around the world. It may be a little bit different, but to take some time with me and let me help you understand your own physical hunger numbers. Now, for the purpose of this podcast, I want to say, let's say that you are now starting to understand your physical hunger scale numbers and you're starting to eat between the twos. Now, what do you do when you know you've had enough? You're at a +2, but you want more. Now, that is a very important question to answer because here's the thing. Your body is saying stop. You've had enough and you know it. So the only thing you're left with is your brain coming up with ideas on why you should continue eating. Getting to know your brain and how it thinks about the end of a meal can be eye-opening because it can help you see the BS of your own brain, or also what we call emotional hunger, because all emotional hunger is wanting to eat when your body says stop. Now, those of you who have been doing this your whole life, and there are many of you who have been eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full, and I applaud you. And I wish I could say that was me, but it was not, only because I wanted to be thin and I thought I was fat. And I will tell you, in the early days, I really wasn't. And I know many of you, when you go back, say the same thing, but I thought I was. And I thought food was the culprit and food was the enemy. And I was being punished and I had to punish myself. And so it had a very different connotation, and it didn't have this idea of eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. It became, how can I get thin? At what cost? And who cares? As long as I can do that. It really didn't matter if I was still hungry. It really didn't matter what I was choosing to eat if I could get thin. Getting thin became the ultimate, and how I got there didn't matter. And I know many of you are like that. And here we sit in menopause with all of that and wonder why we're having such a hard time, when in menopause, our emotions do get stronger. You're used to feeding emotions. You will want to eat more, and you will say you're more hungry than ever when you're in menopause due to the emotional hunger and the emotions that need to be handled and the hormones that need to be balanced. It is a journey. It is something that you need to take time to look at. But for the purpose of today, I want to give you some ideas of what do you do when you know you're at a +2, you know it's time to eat, and you still want to eat. So let me give you some ideas, and let me give you some thoughts that might be running around up there that are fooling you into thinking, maybe I am still hungry. That emotional hunger can be very, very tricky, very, very tricky. And you need to be able to know the difference between what you're feeding, emotional hunger or physical hunger. That's what this summer masterclass is going to be all about, where I am going to teach it. You're going to see me. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to answer questions from those of you. And what I understand and what I know when I start coaching people in groups is that even if you're not the one being coached, you will be the one who will get answers for yourself just by watching and listening. It's such a phenomenon, and I love to watch this coaching in a group. It's like osmosis. It's like you're listening and you're getting things that you never would have gotten before by me coaching somebody else's brain. And if you're in this place of, I don't even know when I'm full, or I know when I'm full and I don't want to stop, but I do want to lose weight. Weight loss is not that compelling when you want to eat something when you're not hungry and it's emotional hunger. It goes out the window. So you have to be able to handle the thoughts that come up when it's time to stop eating. Here's some of the thoughts that I've heard over these last 15 years. Number 1, but it's so good and I may never have it again. That's what we call a BS thought. Yes, it might be good. And there's a good possibility you might be able to have it again. But your brain's saying, and maybe you won't have it again. You got to be okay with letting a food go. Like, it's not the end of the world if you don't have this food again. Sometimes we think we love food like we love our spouses. Food doesn't belong in the category of that kind of love. Food is fuel. We need it. Food can also be a joy eat. It tastes good and it can be enjoyable. But you have to be able to keep your wits about you when you're eating. So when something comes up like, oh, it's so good and I'll never have it again, you have to be ready for that thought and you have to think about how you're going to manage it. And basically what I call that is managing your thoughts around urges, because these are thoughts that create urges. So in this instance, the thought that created the urge was, oh, it's so good and I'll never have it again. It creates this emotional hunger or urge in your body to want to keep eating. Now, once you know this, your brain's still working and your brain can come up with something else if you think ahead of time. Now, you could answer it with a managed thought with something like this. Just because it's good or it's delicious doesn't mean I have to keep eating it. I'd rather stay connected to my body. I can have it again when I'm hungry. I can have it again when I plan for it. I can have it again, but not now because I'm not hungry. I want you to think about all those because these are kind of like brain hacks. Once you're aware of what your brain's up to and the BS that it's up to, then you can start managing it. Okay, another scenario. You're eating. You're out with friends. Everybody's having some drinks. You're having different courses of meals. A certain course comes, and guess what? You're not hungry. You're at a +2. Oh, what is your brain going to say to you now? Everybody's doing it. We're paying for it. It looks so delicious. What will they think? Those are the unmanaged thoughts that will create eating when you're not hungry. Now, once you're aware of this, you can manage your brain and you can say to yourself, but I'm not hungry. It's okay. Even though I'm paying for it, I'm paying for what I want to eat and I'm paying for what I don't want to eat. Nobody cares what I'm doing, but I do. And it's so empowering once you're on to your own BS thinking, because all this BS thinking is basically just emotional hunger. It's urges. It's thoughts that create the desire to eat when you're not hungry. That's just the beginning. If you're interested in what I'm talking about, or you know what I'm talking about, I want you to practice this week. And come July 18th, you'll be able to sign up very, very soon for this webinar. And it will be an hour, and we will spend time on this exact topic. And I think by the time that you're through with it, you will have a handle on your own brain. But I want you to start now, and I want you to start practicing. And if you don't have my Jumpstart Weight Loss Guide that you can get by going to drdebbutler.com/change, get it because it's got the food journals in it. It's got the physical hunger scale in it. And you can start practicing what I'm talking about. So by the time this masterclass comes up in a couple weeks, you will be ready and you'll be ready with questions and I can help you move to the next level. So that's what I have for you today. And two things. Get the book if you don't have it. And if you're ready to sign up for this masterclass, go to drdebButler.com/join, JOIN, and come on. Come on, and let's do some learning, and let's get connected to our own bodies so that we can make this part of our lives the best part of our lives. And as always, I would never end this podcast without saying to you, no matter where you go or what you do, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebButler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebButler.com/change, CHANGE.